Sportsline, everybody. In just a second, we're going to check in with Joe Rexrode, sports columnist for the Tennessean. But before we do that, we got to talk to my favorite caller so far of 2018. It's my buddy Christian on line 2. Christian, you called last week and you called back this week. Great to have you back on the show. What's up, buddy?
Yes, sir. It's a pleasure to be here.
Oh, you're the man. All right. So how do the Titans get this done? What do they have to do to pull this upset over the Patriots Saturday night?
I believe that we need to put pressure on Tom Brady. Because he's either going to throw it away or take a sack. And we need to contain Gronkowski and make sure that he doesn't catch those balls that are thrown to him. And we need to make sure that balls aren't thrown to him. And on our offense, we need Derrick Henry to power through those defenders. And we need some more Mariota magic here.
Yes, we do. Christian, you're the man. Thanks so much for calling, all right? Enjoy the game.
Yes, sir.
All right, we'll talk to you soon. He's the best caller so far 2018. You people need to step it up. Speaking of stepping it up, let's check in with our good friend Joe Rexrode, who is the sports columnist of the Tennessean. Joe, good evening. How are you? Thanks for being on.
I'm good, but I can't top that analysis, so I think you should just hang up on me now.
He needs to host this show. Get my butt out of here, right?
Or at least get him in the studio with you, man.
Absolutely. You know what? That's what we're going to do. We're going to invite Christian in to do an hour with. Joe, you have been a joy to read the last few days. Your columns have been on fire. So much going on outside of this game. Before we look ahead to this Titans-Patriots game, which we will get into, I got to get your thoughts on what happened last week with the whole Malarkey, Amy Adams-Strunk thing. You know, you're the one that told me Saturday morning when I saw you at the hotel in Kansas City about these national reports saying that basically it was a win-or-else scenario for Mike Malarkey, that the Titans front office was thinking about making a coaching change. They cited troubles with the offense, troubles with Marcus Mariota, his development. And we're sitting there at halftime, and it's 21-3, and we're thinking, all right, well, I guess that's it. They come back. They win the game. Amy Adams-Strunk has to release a statement on Sunday saying, hey, Mike Malarkey's our guy, and don't believe all the rumors you're hearing. You had some strong opinions about that. I just want to know where you at with that and how, I guess, legitimate is what Amy Adams-Strunk said in her statement.
Yeah, John. Well, you know, of course, right after that statement came out, there were some people pointing out, well, hey, it's not like, she said, he'll be the coach next year. I mean, moving forward could be like a day, I mean, yeah, I don't necessarily buy that. I think a lot of times those statements are vague by design. But
right.
Look, I mean, the bottom line is I think what Mike told us after the game was the strongest indication yet of reality here, and that is, the Titans can talk about having his back and all that, but he noticed that no one said anything to him when all this stuff was swirling around, and he noticed it enough to say it. And so to me, look, I think, I have no idea. Of course, Ian Rappaport of NFL Network has been strong for a couple weeks with the Titans really looking to go get Josh McDaniels, New England offensive coordinator, which, of course, makes for another juicy storyline this weekend. But, I don't know where that was, but I do know that at this point, even if that was your mindset in the front office or in ownership, I would think that Malarkey would have changed your mind here in the last couple of weeks. And you know what? If the mind was already made up to get Josh McDaniels, then that's that. And moving forward will mean like until they lose again. But
right.
I think that the more likely scenario, if Malarkey were to leave, would be him not feeling comfortable with the support he has and walking himself. And of course, he did that in Buffalo a few years ago. It wasn't the same situation, but he didn't like some of the things that were going on above him, and he got the heck out of there. It's going to be really interesting to watch from here. I mean, I think that the outcome Saturday, if they get blown out and their offense doesn't score a touchdown, then, the outside world will continue to scream a lot of the stuff they've been screaming for months. And, of course, if they win this game or even, I think, make it really close, then I think that continues to strengthen his case to stay.
Joe, let me ask you this. I mean, so much has been made about Marcus Mariota's lack of development. You know, we understand he had 15 interceptions this season. We understand he threw an interception last week in the wild card game against Kansas City. But we also know that Marcus really hasn't been healthy most of the year. I think it's, in my opinion, it's a little tough to pin all of the shortcomings of the offense vis-a-vis Marcus Mariota all on Mike Mularkey. I think Terry Robisky has to share some of the blame. I think Marcus Mariota's decision-making had to, has some blame in this. And I know I'm risking getting yelled at by Taylor Lewan by saying this, but, I think there was many pieces of that pie to go around as to why the offense kind of struggled at times this year. I think the offensive line didn't perform up to expectations at times this year. I don't know if you can pin it all on Mike Mularkey. I understand he's the head coach and he's responsible for the product on the field, but where do you come out on that?
No, I'm 100% with you, John. And we've had these conversations over a pop too. We have. I mean, it's been going on for a while, and I know everyone wants it to be simple, like boom, this is the problem. Get rid of this person, and you take care of the problem. But it's just not that simple. And I think everything you said is right. I mean, I think Mariota, first of all, he's coming off a broken leg, worth mentioning. But also, he's had other stuff this year. He's had hamstring, he had an ankle, he had a shoulder. So there were several games this year when they weren't using him as a runner, and he wasn't doing his normal escape from the pocket and make plays on passing plays either. So that's part of it. But I think the running game going down is a big deal. Look, I think the coaches absolutely deserve some blame for some of these things, and you have to look at them, I guess, overall. I just don't know when I watch him play if I really think he's regressed. Statistically, there's no question. If you're just doing the math, he's absolutely regressed. But I think as a player, I think the receiving core this year also has not been as good as last year's. I mean, last year it was Tajay Sharp and Kendall Wright. Maybe nothing to write home about, but he had better chemistry with those guys than Corey Davis, who, of course, missed camp and missed a lot of this year with a hamstring injury. There's so many things that are a part of it. I just don't watch this whole thing and say, yeah, you got to get rid of that staff and get somebody in here who can develop them. If it was 2 years of this, I could buy that. But last year, Mariota had a tremendous year in every way, including statistically.
We're talking with Joe Rexrode. He's a sports columnist for the Tennessee. You can follow him on Twitter at Joe Rexrode. All right, Joe, let's move ahead to this game. And when you talk about the Titans offense, there are going to be some opportunities, I think, for them to make plays against the Patriots Saturday night. The Pats are a defense. They are the classic bend but don't break. You can usually move the ball against them between the 20s, but they really clamp down in the red zone. Obviously, we talk about this every week, but red zone is going to be huge for the Titans this week. And also staying ahead of the chains, getting the running game going, and I think eating up some clock and keeping Tom Brady and Gronk on the sidelines.
Yeah, and it's an interesting situation because, obviously the no huddle is working for this team. It's working for Mariota. You want to do some of that, no question.
Right.
But you also want to eat clock. And really, they were able to do that in the second half against Kansas City. They were going tempo, or at least, technically no huddle a lot, but they were still eating play clock and they were running the ball. And I think you want to do that. You can go, quote, no huddle without going fast. And I think we'll see some of that. But I totally agree with you. I think they can make plays. I think that when you have a half like they just had, we've been waiting for this offense to get confident and to step up and look like we thought it would look this year. And it finally did at the most important moment. And, I really think with absolutely nothing to lose, after hearing all week how they may as well not show up, I think that offense is the key to this game for the Titans and is going to make plays and score points. Enough points, I don't know. But
right.
I really think that some people are going to be surprised by what they see. I'm seeing predictions from there that, like the Titans are going to score 3 or 7 points, whatever, and I just don't think so. I think that the Patriots are not great on defense. They just aren't.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, no question about it. Joe, the one thing when you talk about the Titans defense that concerns me, though, is who is going to cover Gronkowski. I mean, before Travis Kelce got hurt last week, he was pretty much having his way with the Titans safeties and linebackers, and I I dare say, had he not gotten hurt and had to leave that game last week, Kansas City probably wins that game. If you're Dick LeBeau, what do you do about Rob Gronkowski? Who gets that assignment?
I mean, I think you're thinking, like, what's the Pats team hotel? Food poisoning? Oh, man. No, I mean, look, they struggle with good tight ends, and now they're playing a robot. I mean, I think you can't, like, overdo it with trying to cover the tight end. I mean, that's what's great about being a tight end in the NFL. Is like, even if you're great, I mean, teams can't, like, take too much coverage away from elsewhere to deal with you. I mean, you just can't. I mean, you have to cover the outside receivers, and the Pats go to their backs a lot.
Yeah.
I mean, I think it's just you hope to hit them every time, and you hope to keep them from rumbling 20 yards after the catch, and you hope to get to Brady and bat some balls at the line. I mean, the Titans could win this game with Gronkowski getting 180 yards receiving and 2 touchdowns. It's just you can't let everything else go nuts on you too. And that's just one thing. Like Belichick's known for taking your best thing away. I'm sure they will be focused a lot on taking Delaney Walker away. A lot of teams have been this year. I mean, it makes sense. In this case, I don't think LeBeau is going into this like, we got to take Gronk away, because he knows they won't, So
right.
I think, open field tackling and just covering well and doing the best you can and trying to get at Brady, I think, is the only answer.
We're finishing up with Joe Rexrode, sports columnist of the Tennessean, kind enough to join us here on Sportsline. Joe, it's funny you mentioned that, because I was telling the viewers before you came on, we've talked. I'm a Giants fan. I saw them beat Brady and Belichick twice in the Super Bowl, and how they were able to do it was, putting pressure on Brady, hitting him and knocking him down. It's a big risk if you're going to blitz Brady. I mean, good quarterbacks want you to blitz because they know exactly what they have in terms of matchups on the outside. But you can't sit back in coverage either, because he'll pick you apart. Dick LeBeau's going to really have to find a way to mix things up and try to fool Brady. That's going to be a tough task.
It is. And, and also, you're right. I mean, he will certainly, Dick LeBeau, I guarantee you he's going to be breathing Saturday night, just as I guarantee he's going to be dialing up blitzes. I mean, that's who he is. But, I don't think it'll be all night long either. I mean, there's got to be some front four pass rush that gets you to Brady. I mean, Jarrell Casey inside has got to get in there and get at him. And, you need Rakpo and Morgan. I mean, you need some of those guys individually to have great efforts and allow you to, at times, play coverage so you can at least mix it up. I mean, you're very rarely are you going to fool Brady, but you can beat his people and get to him fast. And again, they get the ball out fast, obviously. I mean, that's a big part of their offense. And that's where, getting up and batting balls at the line is big, too. I mean, you have to do some of that against him.
Joe, I appreciate you jumping on. I will see you in the great New England states. I'm looking forward to this game. It should be fun to watch and fun to cover.
Yep, looking forward to it, man. Well, maybe we can get a chowder.
Yes, that's right. We go to Harvard and beat up the smart kids. Thanks, Joe.
All right, see you, man.
All right, Joe Rexrode. You can read him online, and actually you can pick up a newspaper and read him in the Tennessean. He's a sports columnist. We appreciate him jumping on Sportsline. Time for another break. When we come back, we're back to your phone calls. I want to know from you, 737-7767, what do the Titans have to do to pull this upset off Saturday night in New England? If you're on hold, stay there. We're getting to you right out of this break, so don't go anywhere. John Burton here, Taylor Prey, our producer, taking your calls, and we're back right after this.